Yes, guys, welcome back to Stretford Paddock. Finally, we're here. I mean, you wouldn't believe the night me and Joe have had already trying to get this bloody thing up, but I know we're 45 minutes late, so we have to apologise for that. We are terribly sorry, but we're still bringing you transfers live in the office as we are now. And no, we've seen in the comments already, Jay's not doing his hair. Obviously, he's bald, you know that. He's not been messing around with his hair. We've been having a few technical difficulties, but we are here, finally here, bringing you some of the news that we've got so far coming in. We're talking Lorenzo from Napoli. We're talking Varane from Real Madrid. We're talking Paul Pogba's future. We're talking updates on Marcus Rashford and what's going on currently with him at the moment. And an incoming at the club, a 29-year-old coach, but we'll get onto that a little bit later on. As always, drop an early like on the video for us. We're a bit late, we're sorry, but you know, we want some love. We've been here for ages now, and don't forget to subscribe because we are less than 10,000 away from 600,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you're getting onto it. But finally, we're here. We've got some chats in. Here we go from Safwan. I mean, we're talking about here we go on the actual video starting, but we're going to dive straight into it now. We're talking Manchester United being linked with an Italian right-back in the form of Lorenzo. Now, we know he plays for Napoli in Italy. He just won the Euros. He played 120 minutes in the final. He was pretty solid for the whole of the actual European Championships. But we know that Fabrizio Romano has been tweeting saying that his new contract with Napoli is almost finished. And his agent confirmed today nothing's going on with Manchester United. Now, we've had a couple of talks about if an incoming right-back is going to be something that we're going to look at in the summer. We've been linked with Kieran Trippier all this time, but 40 million for a 30-year-old, I'm sure it's pretty much dusted in the water now. We don't think that's going to happen. We also think that we've had Ethan Laird in the conversation. We know Jay Motty's a big fan of Ethan Laird. I'm a big fan of Ethan Laird. We want him. I'd personally love him to come in and challenge Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but again, we've been linked with a £17 million move with Di Lorenzo. Again, he's been solid all season for Napoli. He's been solid for Italy as they won the European Championships just yesterday, in fact, or the day before. Well, it was yesterday, wasn't it? I'm saying that because I'm that hungover about it. I had to drown my sorrows yesterday. I'm getting the bleeding days wrong, but can I see Di Lorenzo coming to Manchester United and challenging Aaron Wan-Bissaka for that full-back spot? I can, but whether it does happen, I have no idea. Dan Fletch saying he's signed a new deal. Ross Murphy saying he's still new. People, my name's Jordan. We'll still get time to get my name. It's all right. We'll get it right. Don't worry about it. But as we said before, Di Lorenzo coming to Manchester United. If I was talking like Stephen Howson, I'd probably give it a 0 out of 10. I can't really see it happening. But moving on from Di Lorenzo, obviously, Raphael Varane has been in the mix in the transfer rumours at the club for so long now. And United have opened talks with Varane, according to Sky Sports, but a fee is yet to be agreed now. We know he's only got 1 year left on his contract. We know that, according to reports, Madrid want at least £50 million for Raphael Varane. But according to ABC, Manchester United are only €5 million short of the asking price that Real Madrid want for Raphael Varane, and that we need to cough up that extra £5 million to match Madrid's valuation. Now, we've got some things in the chat. People thinking I'm a Scouser. I mean, if I was a Scouser, I don't think I'd be on this channel plain and simple to start with. All things Man United saying United are so slow with transfers. They've been so slow all pretty much since the Glazers have been in. But we've done the business early, finally, getting Jadon Sancho over the line, which is fantastic, you know. Finally, that's looking like it's done. But if Varane comes in as well, I mean, what a bleeding summer that would be. Think about him to come alongside Harry Maguire. That would be bloody ridiculous. But, again, multiple reports are also saying that Manchester United are close to agreeing personal terms with the four-time Champions League winner. So, Raphael Varane, is he coming to Manchester United? I know most of you lot don't think he is. There's a couple of you lot who do think he's actually going to come, but realistically, would Raphael Varane want to jump to Manchester United knowing that he's got PSG sniffing around him as well? Going back to his home country, as we know, he could probably get absolute big bucks at PSG, even though we've got a little bit of spending power as well. It would be interesting to see what sort of would happen with, look at that, Maguire and Varane. It would be an unbelievable partnership together. Sophia and Gomez says, when is Jadon getting revealed? Sorry, pal, we have no idea. But when it does, we will be right on it, as always. You know what we're like, coming straight with the news. Dan Fenech says, Maguire is the best centre-back in the world at the minute. I can't really argue with you, mate. There's probably a couple of people in the chat who would probably argue with you, but I agree with you 100%. Imagine that in the future for the start of next season. Harry Maguire on the form of his life, I'd even argue, alongside Raphael Varane, four-time Champions League winner, World Cup winner, serial winner next to Maguire. And obviously, the England boys are going to be very gutted from yesterday's result. Maguire, sure, they've been to 2 finals already if you're counting the Euros as this season, they've been to 2 finals already, and they've had heartache in both finals. This can only give them even more motivation to go on and then play even better. And we can't even complain about it. If it happens, and it just happens so that he's alongside Raphael Varane, imagine what that would do for the spine of the team. First super chat tonight, Erling Lennett. Who's coming in to replace Fred? Well, for me, I'd love Wilfred Ndidi, but some of the reports linked Saul to us, didn't they? They linked Eduardo Camavinga. That's been the biggest one, the one that's been sort of picking up the most, I can't think of the word. The most pace. Yes, thank you, Joe. Right in the producer there. Joe Smith is currently on the producer desk. What a job he's doing behind there, getting this thing sorted. So drop a like for Joe doing all this properly tonight. Camavinga, as we say, he finally got the word for me, getting the pace. It's building up the most pace. And for an 18-year-old, I know I said on the news last week that he may struggle to break straight into the first team, despite the fact he's been there for 2 years at Rennes, or however you want to say it, because I don't really know. He's been in the first team for 2 years, and he's been playing out of his skin there, even as a CDM. But Bjorn Egilheg says, indeed, are you drunk, mate? I love a destroyer in midfield. I'd love to see a destroyer just going out and cleaning everybody and doing everything they can to get the ball back. But that's just me. Whoever replaces Fred, I don't know. I heard he's had quite a good Copa America despite Argentina beating him in the final. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched every single game. I've not even watched any of them, to be honest. I've been too preoccupied with the main things going around with our own national team. But whether Varane comes or not, like going way off track here, whether Varane comes or not, we will keep you updated with the latest on it, of course. But moving on from Varane onto another Frenchman, Paul Pogba, again in the news. Pogba is going to make an important decision next week, according to Calcio Mercato, stating that Pogba will decide next week whether he wants to complete a move to Paris Saint-Germain or stay at Manchester United. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you lot is whether you think Paul Pogba is going to be here for the start of next season. Get your opinions in the comments, shall I say, because I'd like to speak properly. If we can get your opinions in, talk to me about whether you think Paul Pogba is going to stay this summer or jump ship to Paris Saint-Germain, because it's a similar talk with Raphael Varane. He could go over there, go back to his home country and get a big pay bucket. Think about Paul Pogba's, he's 27, 28 now, I think he's 28 years old. He could be linking up with the likes of Donnarumma, with Sergio Ramos, with Wijnaldum, formerly the Scousers, the Neymars, the Mbappés. In that league, he may have a little bit more freedom to express himself in terms of showboating on the pitch, because we know he loves to do it in the Premier League, and he even gets stick off all us like if he's showboating in midfield. But, well, I've just seen Tasha say throw Jones in the bin respectfully. Phil Jones isn't even in the conversation. I don't even know where he is, to be honest. I couldn't even tell you. But, again, Paul Pogba, we obviously want, if we're going to sell him, we want to get a little bit of money for him, because it's like what Jay was saying on the news this morning. Juventus were also linked with him, but it's only been a little bit. And Fabio Paratici, the new Tottenham sporting director, formerly of Juventus, was saying about how they were never really back in for him. But how much of an embarrassment would it be if we let him go to Juve on a free? We buy him back for 89 million, 90 million, and then he goes back again on a free. It would be bloody ridiculous. But we've only 1 year left on his contract. We're going to be looking to recoup at least £50 million. I would say would be a half decent sort of price tag for him to come and actually get something if he refuses to sign a contract, and only if he refuses to sign that contract, because Paul Pogba should be worth about 70, 80 million, more so what we paid for him. But I've just seen Johnny Barbados in the chat saying completely again off Paul Pogba, Denzel Dumfries' competition for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I mean, I can't complain with that. He had a terrific tournament for Netherlands, despite I think they got knocked out in the quarters, I think it was. He was terrific, and he's at PSV, and I don't think he'd cost that much. But again, the conversation with Ethan Laird, conversation with Lorenzo all coming in. Bjorn Agil also says Pogba and Raiola are aiming for running down the contract, sell him. We know what Raiola's like. Raiola loves to get, a fat paycheck in his pocket, because he's probably a size 38, size 40. I mean, have you seen the size of him? We know that he loves a big book in his pocket, shall I say. And he'll be wanting to try and get Pogba's contract down to the latter stages, to the last 6 months. So if he does leave on a free, he can pocket a massive agent fee. We know he's a bit of a knob. We've been dealing with him the whole time since Pogba's been here, but he would be one person who I'd like to see get out of the club, because he's still technically involved, being Paul Pogba's agent. Merchant Turk says Messi. I mean, that would be bleeding good, wouldn't it? But that's definitely not happening. Come on. Pritish Patel in the chats, and I don't know if that's a joke towards the politician or not, says if he wants to leave, he's making a decision next week. End of. Well, that's all we can tell you about it right now. But we are going to move on to moving away from Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford. Now, we seen yesterday he missed a penalty. He wasn't the only player to miss a penalty. We saw Bukayo Saka miss. We saw Jadon Sancho, almost of Manchester United, almost miss a penalty as well. It was heartbreak for England, heartbreak for us all. I'm sure there's a lot of sore heads in the chat, even now at 9 o'clock, because I can still quite feel it after yesterday. It was quite worrying to see. You see, and Gary Neville said it today, the aftermath that he knew that the aftermath that would happen, because unless, like I said before, unless you've been living under a rock and you've not seen what's going on, the horrid social media abuse that these lads have been getting for missing a penalty, it's just absolutely awful, and it just really needs to stop, because this should be a time where now the people who are behind the actual social media accounts, in terms of the people who own the things like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, etc., clamp their foot down and actually understand that people are just making accounts to troll, to be racist, to hurl disgusting language at him. Because for the whole tournament, yeah, Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, they didn't really get a sniff in terms of the Euros. But Bukayo Saka had been very, very good for England, and everyone was been cheering him on. The second something negative happens, you've seen a minority of people attacking him for the race that he's from, for his race. It's just ridiculous. It's honestly just damning to see, considering how much joy the England team and this Euros journey so far, the Euros journey, finally I got there, has actually done for us, and how much happiness it gives us as a sort of nation coming together and supporting every single player in that team. But as we saw, the mural that Marcus Rashford had was defaced last night after he missed a penalty in the shootout. It was commissioned in recognition of his work to tackle child food poverty. However, it was defaced yesterday, as we saw. But the overwhelming support that he's had has been absolutely ridiculous. And we saw it. People have been posting. Obviously, the Metropolitan Police posted these black sort of covers to cover what had been said. And people have been posting like almost like notes in the shape of love arts, saying the words like role model, wonderful human, hero. The things that sort of keep the faith in Manchester and the people of this nation, the beautiful people that are still there, that are coming in support. And in the last half an hour, Marcus Rashford had posted an Instagram picture, and it's quite a long one, so get comfortable, because I'm going to read the whole thing. And it starts off with this: I don't even know where to start, and I don't even know how to put into words how I'm feeling at this exact time. I've had a difficult season. I think that it's been clear from everyone to see, and I probably went into the final with a lack of confidence. I've always backed myself for a penalty, but something didn't quite feel right. During the long run-up, I was saving myself for a bit of time, and unfortunately, the result was not what I wanted. I felt as though I had let my teammates down. I felt I'd let everyone down. A penalty was all I'd been asked to contribute for the team. If I can score penalties in my sleep, so why not that one? It's been playing in my head over and over since I struck the ball, and there's probably not a word to quite describe how it feels. Final. 55 years. One penalty. History. All I can say is sorry. I wish it had gone differently. Whilst I continue to say sorry, I want to shout out my teammates. This summer has been one of the best camps I've experienced, and you've all played a role in that. A brotherhood has been built that's been unbreakable. Your success is my success. Your failures are mine. I've grown into a sport where I can expect to read things written about myself, whether it be the colour of my skin, where I grew up, or most recently, how I decide to spend my time off the pitch. I can take critique for my performances all day long. My penalty wasn't good enough. It should have gone, but I will never apologise for who I am and where I came from. I've never felt no prouder moment than wearing those 3 lions on my chest and seeing my family cheer me on in a crowd of tens of thousands. I dream of days like this. The messages I've received today have been overwhelmingly positive, and seeing the response in Withington had me on the verge of tears. The communities that have always wrapped their arms around me continue to hold me up. I'm Marcus Rashford, 23 years old, black man from Withington and Wythenshawe, South Manchester. If I have nothing else, I have that. For all the kind messages, thank you. I'll be back stronger, we'll be back stronger. Marcus Rashford, 10. Now, me sat here reading that, it almost sent a chill down my spine in a way, because it's took him to come out social media around 24 hours since the result happened, and having to defend himself, but also replying to the jubilation that he's feeling towards the overwhelming support that he's been getting. But I don't think you can blame Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho for England losing that game yesterday, because England were good, arguably good in the first 45 minutes. Luke Shaw's goal, euphoria everywhere. The second half, you can't deny it. England were pants. Italy were the better team 100%, and even into extra time, they were the better team. Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho didn't even kick the ball, I don't think, before they took the penalty. Their first touch was the penalty kick in the biggest game of their lives. Bukayo Saka, he doesn't take the penalties for Arsenal, so why on earth he even got chose to pick? He got picked to take a penalty. It baffles me. Loads of support in the chat for Marcus Rashford. The things you love to see. That's what we need to do. We need to rally up together and be supporting of our players, because we need to show how much love these guys are going to come when they return back to the club. And they've only got a month left till pre-season start, so they can hopefully put it behind them and sort of get ready, be happy, because they've had a fantastic tournament regardless. It was a fantastic ride. They brought so much joy to so many people over this summer. So all they need to do now is look back on it, reflect, go again, because the World Cup's only 18 months away. But they might have bigger things that could be a little bit more important, i.e. coming back to Manchester United and playing out the socks, which is exactly what I think they're going to do. So I'm all salivating having Marcus Rashford on one side, Jadon Sancho on the other, Edison Cavani down the middle with Bruno Fernandes behind him. I think I need to cross my legs under this table. It's ridiculous. But we have one more little piece of news as well. But I said before, that 29-year-old coach, he's come in from Chelsea. I think he's called Eric Chambers, I want to say. I think that's his name. He's a 29-year-old coach coming in to be a first-team coach at Manchester United. Eric Ramsey, not Eric Chambers. Why Chambers is in my head? I think I got Callum Chambers and Aaron Ramsey mixed up with the Arsenal link talking about Bukayo Saka, so please forgive me in the chat. But Eric Ramsey, thank you, Joe. I knew why he's been there the whole time. Eric Ramsey, he's 29 years old, which is dead young for a coach, to be fair, especially a set-piece coach. And all I know from a little bit of research, I'm not going to pretend like I'm his best mate, that I've known him all this time. He started off at Shrewsbury. He'd been at Chelsea under-23s as a developmental coach for the under-23s. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has poached him to be the set-piece coach for the first team, which is pretty good considering, not according to who scored, via whoscored.com. United has only scored 7 goals from set pieces last year, which was 10% of the goals we scored all season, right? We conceded 14 off set pieces, which was a third of the goals we conceded last season off set pieces. So I can understand why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has even brought in the fella, because we do need to work on set pieces. We can't hide from it. We all know as fans. We need, look, all the support in the chat. James Dunbar, finally a set piece coach. And then Eric Ramsey is an amazing coach. We are only going to see it. Hopefully we reap the benefits. But that is, I'm going to wrap it up there, because that is what I've got for you lot so far. Once again, thank you very much for being patient with us. We've had so many technical difficulties, should I say, trying to get this video here, but we got it done eventually. As I said before, don't forget to like the video as well. Leave your comments in about all the news that we've been talking about today. Don't forget to turn that notification bell on so you don't miss a thing from the channel. We've got loads of fantastic content coming out in the next couple of days. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed already, get subscribing, because we're less than 10,000 away from 600k, which would be absolutely bloody mental if we get there. When we get there, we're pretty confident. I've been Jordan Simpson for Stretford Paddock. This has been Transfers Live. We'll see you on the next one.